1938年，时任哈佛大学卫生系主任的阿列伯克教授觉得，整个研究界都在研究人为什么会生病、失败潦倒，怎么没有人研究人是怎样才能够健康、成功、幸福呢？于是伯克就提出了一项研究计划。哈佛大学用了75年的时间，经历了好几代的教授，完成了一个叫做格兰特研究。75年的研究就是为了研究一个人在什么情况下才能健康、更快乐。这项历时75年的研究中，得到了最清晰的信息是良好的关系。良好的关系可以让人更快乐、更健康，特别是在当今压力和冲击更大的社会中，有人可以支持、鼓励你，是一笔特殊的财富。研究人员强调，良好的人际关系不仅可以保护我们的身体，还能保护我们的大脑。那些社会连接更丰富，也就是与家人、朋友、群体连接更紧密的人，会更快乐、更健康、更长寿。这里说的良好社会关系，不是指数量，而是质量。那问题来了，怎么样才能拥有良好的人际关系呢？那就是与人为善，敞开心扉。善良和值得信任，这些特质会促进连接。在儒家经典《大学》的一开篇就说，大学之道，在明明德，在亲民，在止于至善。善是儒家思想的根源，因为保持善良，一是可以让你自己心安，二是一个人对人敞开心扉，别人是能够感受得到的。一个人心里想什么，表面就算伪装的再好，别人依然能够感受到你心里边所想所装的内容。
It turns out that living in the midst of conflict is really bad for our health. High conflict marriages, for example, without much affection, turn out to be very bad for our health, perhaps worse than getting divorced. And living in the midst of good, warm relationships is protective. Once we had followed our men all the way into their 80s, we wanted to look back at them at midlife and to see if we could predict who was going to grow into a happy, healthy octogenarian and who wasn't. That's as old as the hills. Why is this so hard to get and so easy to ignore? Well, we're human. What we'd really like is a quick fix, something we can get that'll make our lives good and keep them that way. Relationships are messy and they're complicated, and the hard work of tending to family and friends, that's not sexy or glamorous. It's also lifelong. It never ends. The people in our 75-year study who were the happiest in retirement were the people who had actively worked to replace workmates with new playmates. Just like the millennials in that recent survey, many of our men, when they were starting out as young adults, really believed that fame and wealth and high achievement were what they needed to go after to have a good life. But over and over these 75 years, our study has shown that the people who fared the best were the people who leaned into relationships with family, with friends, with community. So what about you? Let's say you're 25, or you're 40, or you're 60. What might leaning into relationships even look like? Well, the possibilities are practically endless. It might be something as simple as replacing screen time with people time, or livening up a stale relationship by doing something new together, long walks or date nights, or reaching out to that family member who you haven't spoken to in years, because those all too common family feuds take a terrible toll on the people who hold the grudges. I'd like to close with a quote from Mark Twain. More than a century ago, he was looking back on his life, and he wrote this: "There isn't time, so brief is life, for bickerings, apologies, heartburnings, callings to account. There is only time for loving, and but an instant, so to speak, for that. The good life is built with good relationships,